Hello, 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 everyone. Oh my gosh. Everyone's too attractive. We can't do this. Sorry, this is too much. Just kidding. Hi, everyone. Good evening. Good evening. I'm sure we're going to be having some pals jumping in here and there, but oh, it's so good to see everyone's face. Yay. Oh, hi. Um, my name is Whitney. I don't know if you heard the creepy computer voice, but I am going to record this so I can share it with our other friends. It's not necessarily going to be a big public video, so don't think like what is she doing with this. It's mostly to celebrate the fact that we're all together in this virtual space and share it with the folks who are unable to join us tonight, as well as our fellow board members, some of which who are unable to join us tonight. So why are we here? I think you all know, most of you here participated in the show, so thank you. My name is Whitney. I am the curator and founder of Locus. Thank you all so much for participating in Locus 7, for those of you who did. I can't believe, I was just thinking earlier, like, wow, 7 shows later, and this one is closing tonight. Like, I'm so sad, but so thrilled. So really appreciate y'all being on the ride with us. So Locus was just a funny little idea that I had. Certainly not an original idea. This is definitely a type of creative expression and communication that has existed in many forms throughout the history of time. But I wanted to put it up as just a project to keep myself busy as I ran my event space, the Martin, which for those of you who are local or for anyone who maybe follows me online, the Martin is now happily reopened post-COVID. So really thrilled. Come and see me in the space so I can hug your body and we can have a lot of good times. So this show launched in June of 2019. I did 2 in-person versions, and then the weekend we were supposed to open, iteration 3, we went into stay-at-home orders, and then it became kind of a hybrid virtual in-person, and since then we've been virtual. And I was really hesitant to bring it online, as we all were, right? We still wanted to stay with each other and we wanted that connection and the excitement of being in person and saying like, and now your partner is this person. I didn't know if it would still be as special. And I have found such joy and satisfaction in bringing this online, in extending the reach to artists across the world and meeting folks even in my own city that maybe I wouldn't have if it remained an in-person show. So we are getting back to the in-person version soon, but for now we are here to celebrate this fully virtual version of Locus 7. So Locus 7 has been open for just over a week. We are celebrating the work of 24 artists across the world. We cover 6 of the states within the United States, and we cover 6 countries around the world. So thank you all, especially for those of you who are outside of the US or have 0 connection at all to Chicago, for trusting me, applying to the show and saying yes when I'm like, this might be a lot of work. And everyone's like, cool, I'm here for it. Y'all did such an awesome job. We welcomed in 23 new artists to the project. So like I said, I've been doing this for a little while. I encourage artists to apply again. And 23 of you have never done this before. So thank you so much again for leaping into this big project. We did welcome back one Locus alum, Percy Van Ort. They worked with me on Locus 2, I believe. It was in person. And yes, I did accidentally pair them up with their partner, and I didn't know they were partners. So until the night of, what a reveal. So that was funny. And now they got to come back and meet a new friend who's not their partner. So still a beautiful, both of the Locus versions were awesome. And so glad that Percy got that experience twice. So yeah, virtually, it's tough. It's tough to open a virtual show and just put it on the internet and say, are people going, but luckily Squarespace has a little bit of insights that I can look into. And so over the past week and a couple of days change, we've seen over 378 visits to the virtual space, which is awesome. If we had a in-person exhibition, would we see 370 bodies? I don't know. And so, I think that's a cool number to celebrate. And 318 of those were unique visitors. So 308 unique human beings came through and saw your artwork. So congratulations. And I hope you all have been hearing from people. Hopefully y'all have been getting some tips. And not tips as in like how to do your work, but like financial tips, and have overall just enjoyed the show and enjoyed each other as well. So that's the show. I'm not going to go into full detail because, again, most of y'all participated in the show who are here tonight. So what I would like to kick off with, basically the structure of tonight, this is just here again to like say thank you so much for being a part of the project. Here's some fun things about it. And then, yeah, so that's the spirit of tonight. I am going to talk about our microgrant program and then invite our board member, Santiago, to talk to us about that and the whole board's decision over the last few days. And then we are also going to give an opportunity for a few of our artist pairs tonight who are able to come in, say hello to each other virtually, talk a little bit about the project. So just a couple of minutes with each of those pairings. And then I will open up the floor at the end for anyone who maybe has questions, wants to make comments with the artists that are here, or anything like that. So no pressure, but that platform is coming up. So during the whole thing, if you start to think about a question or want to reach out to an artist who is here, just know that opportunity is coming up. So with that being said, let's move on to the microgrant portion of this evening. So the microgrant program was developed at the top of this year. One of the things that I was really kicking around last fall, winter, going into this year is that, I have a passion for supporting emerging artists. I myself am an emerging artist. So, we're all here. All we can do is help boost each other up. And I truly believe that. So the challenge with Locus and the challenge about a DIY show is I don't have funding and you don't have funding. Nobody has funding. So maybe if we just declared that there could be a little bit of community funded funding for our artists, that I could give back a little more. So in our board meeting, one of our board members mentioned that someone was like, well, is Locus just a competition now? And I just want to clear that air. It is not. This is simply a method to say, thank you so much for your work. Our community came together. We want to celebrate what you've done. It is not winners, losers, or the forgotten in between. This is another platform that we can give you to continue on into your practice. So hopefully one day it can be so funded that every single artist gets a little bit something, but that's why we encourage the community to continue to give if you feel something about a particular piece of artwork. So tonight we celebrate our literary artists. And of course we celebrate those visual artists too, but the way that we structured our microgrant program is that our microgrant goes to the artwork type that across the board created new work for the show. So I am really passionate about the idea, really against the idea that, if your work has been put into the public before, that someone owns it other than you. And so the folks who start off the process, which in this iteration is our visual artist team, we're allowed to either create a brand new work or give me something they've used before. If it's a piece of artwork that they've shown in a show 25 times, I don't care. You put in that work and you made it. Let's keep showing it. So the literary artists tonight, their ask was to create a brand new work based on the anonymous piece of visual art that they received. When they received their artwork, there was no title, no materials, and no artist. All they knew was their artist pronouns, so they could correctly refer to them in their reaction videos. So that's what we're celebrating here. What we have to give out of what the community has put together for our literary artists tonight is somewhere around 300 American dollars. So 300 USD, which is amazing. We started with 0 USD because we gave our bank to our artists, our visual artists last quarter. So thank you, community. Thank you to everyone who donated. It's incredible. It's awesome. So around $300. And then we also have partnered, I'm sure y'all have seen me post a few times, with a local Chicago literary journal called Bridge. Bridge is run by a Locus alum, actually, Michael Workman from Locus 6. And we partner because we both are, doing the deal. And how can we continue to uplift each other? So we also have a partnership and publication opportunity with Bridge. I think it's really awesome. And it's a huge advantage for literary artists to say like, hey, I'm published and I'm published in this thing right here. So that's going to happen. So that's what's on the table. Because I get the extreme privilege of being the curator and builder of the show, I did not want to take on this responsibility when we launched this microgrant program. So I built my beautiful board member team that's composed of mostly Locus alum, 4 visual artists and 4 literary artists. And they communally come together each quarter, look at the show and discuss how this microgrant fund should be distributed to our artists. So with that being said, I want to invite Santiago, who is one of our they're here. Hello. Is one of our board members. She's also a 2-time Locus alum. She's incredible, and she is representing the board today to tell all about the really exciting meeting that we had on Thursday, and ultimately what the board has decided. So, Mo, may I add you here? Take it away.
Hello. Can everybody hear me A-okay? Okay, cool. My Wi-Fi, my internet, the electricity's out in the whole front of my apartment, like just the front. So I'm on my phone. And I'm so happy to be here with you tonight. I prepared something because I talk quite a lot, and so I don't want to talk too much. I just want to say, first of all, thank you for being here, you all. Thank you for coming. Thank you for showing up. Hello to our community. Hello to our artists. It is so good to see people. It feels so good to see people. Hello, so many. I'm swiping through so many beautiful faces. You guys, it is my honor to be here with you and my honor to present these awards. It was such a challenge to have to come in and decide who is going to get this award, because there were so many amazing artists. I want to just take a moment to shout out all of our Locus artists and all of our pairings for creating such stunning and moving works. I resonated with so many of your pieces. I was so inspired by so much of what I saw. I'm actually working on a personal project, and I went back to the works and was pulling little pieces from all the photographs and the mixed media and the writing that I saw that's going to inspire a project that I'm working on. So thank you. You guys are so beautiful. I'm so appreciative of the connections that you guys made and that I felt when you guys created together. Maybe it's because I'm a big poet myself that I felt so much extra love for the words that I read, and so close to the writers this time around. It was truly a challenge. It was me and my fellow board members sitting around talking about all the beauty that we saw. And honestly, I think we could have just talked about how amazing everyone was for hours and hours and hours. It was a breath of relief that we were able to open this award up to 2 beautiful artists tonight. And I want to give a big shout out to our generous donations, to our community members who pull through, and a big shout out to our Bridge collaboration. I'm so excited to see what is created from that. And so instead of keeping you guys in suspense, I would love to introduce you guys who our awardees are tonight. Oh, I'm so nervous. I'm nervous about everything for no reason. Okay. So as you guys know, we do have our micro grant, which is around $300, and then we have our Bridge collaboration. So I'm going to start with our micro grant. Our micro grant tonight is going to a brand new favorite writer of mine, the one and only amazing Alum Sloan, for their piece Lounging, and their pairing with the wonderful and amazing Lauren. Alon, you showed, I want to say both of our artists showed a beautiful, magical intimacy in 2 different ways. And Alon, you showed this intimacy in your writing that brought a sense of magic to my mind in reading your piece. Another board member, Amay, said that you wrote a beautiful piece that puts my mind into meditation. And I was like, absolutely. Alon, you nurtured the self-care and intimacy within myself and the love that I need to rekindle sometimes, and a reminder of softness. And it is my honor to award you this micro grant, and I cannot wait to see the work you continue to write. So everybody, can we get some snaps and some claps for Alon?
Alana, we'd love you to share any thoughts if you have any with us.
Totally. I'm very surprised and very happy. My camera, I was turning off because I have terrible internet, so I don't know how long you'll be able to hear me for. But just thank you so much. This was such a delight to be a part of, and it was such a great way to work starting from an image. So I really enjoyed this. Thank you.
Oh, you're muted, Whitney.
Muted. Yep. You feel like unmute myself. Okay, yeah, I know. Yeah, come on, Zoom. Elon, we loved your work. You were just such a delight to have in the show. This microgrant is completely unrestricted. You do not have to tell me how you spend it. If you would like to and you want to share it with the Locus community, that is awesome. If what will bring you peace and what will give you more space to create is spending it on your own personal things, that's fantastic. It's all for you, and it's all to make your life a little bit easier and to open it up so you can continue to write beautiful things like this. So thank you so much.
Yes, as Whitney put it in our board meeting, Alon, you may go rent an amazing, beautiful studio space. You might buy a new desk to write at, but you also might buy like 200 tubes of toothpaste, and that's okay. I love that. Supporting artists is what we are here to do. And honestly, it's one of the reasons that I joined the board was to present opportunities to amazing, wonderful literary and visual artists like yourself, and artists supporting artists. That's what we're all here for, right? All right. My friends, our bridge collaboration is being given to a dream artist of mine, the one and only Sav Robinson, for their piece Fireside Chat in response to their partner Charlie's image. Sav, you and Charlie had to have been in conversation, because the writing that you did was so mystically brought a new life to Charlie's work. I felt that you brought me into this story, and like I said, I felt you and Elon had this beautiful intimacy in different ways, and you brought me into this story and gave me a new sense of dream and this intimacy between these two people. And I felt like, as I said it in the board meeting, I felt like I was kind of standing behind these people as they were interacting and like connecting and resonating with what they were in their conversation. And the word solemn comes to mind in such a good way, and like the intimacy between characters, between people, and your piece felt so close to me. And I want to say how in awe I am of you, and it brings me so much joy to be the one to award you this collaboration, and I cannot wait to see how you grow and how it turns out. So y'all, can we give some snaps and some claps for the one and only Sav?
We'd love some words from you, Sav, if you'd like to share.
Yes. Thank you all so much. I am so thrilled. I feel like this past year has been a whirlwind trying to maintain like some creative semblance, some creative juices. And this whole experience really propelled me in such a beautiful direction. Like to be transparent, I graduated in 2020 and had not written until this whole project. And ever since, I feel more of a kinship with just like the artists community in general. And this has brought about so many great connections and that. So thank y'all so much. I'm really stoked and really excited to see, where this opportunity takes me.
Yay! Thanks, Sav. Oh goodness. Mo, thank you so much for repping our board team. I know anyone who's in Chicago, we are just getting slaughtered with rain today, and it knocked out Mo's internet. And so Mo was kind enough to be like, oh, I'll be there, and then I gotta bounce. So you held it down. Thank y'all. And yeah, big shout out to our board. I know Alyssa just jumped on, another one of our Locus alums, as well as our current Locus board members. The deep thought and discussion that everyone had on every single piece. It was an awesome spirited debate. So congratulations to everyone who received, and congratulations to everyone who just got the work done in the very short amount of time that this project requires. So, and for that, I'm sorry, but you all did it. So So give it up, snaps for Mo.
And I'll give some more snaps to Elon and Sav. Thank you for having me on. It was truly my pleasure and my honor to award both these artists. And I cannot wait to keep going through all of the artist pairings over and over again. You all have created some beautiful work. And hopefully I will get to see everybody soon at the next Locus in person. Fingers crossed.
Ooh, yes. Thanks, Mo. All right. Well, let's keep it going then. So while we're in this discussion, I would really love to give the opportunity we have a couple of our Locus pairs that were able to come tonight. So we've got Locus artists from all over the world. And so, it's hard to find a time that kind of works for everyone. And thank you all for spending a little bit of Saturday night time with us here. So Sav, I know we were just talking to you, but do you mind kicking it off with your friend Charlie? I'm going to add you anyway.
Sure, yeah, I'd love to. Hello, Charlie.
Hi, Sav.
I have to kind of scroll to see you, but hello.
No, I don't need to be in this. Hi. Okay, I will still talk, but I don't need to be up on the screen. So y'all, okay, so let me ask, have y'all had a chance to connect since the show is open? Or is this the first time that you're getting to say hello?
We haven't met yet.
Yeah, no, I just saw Charlie's reaction to the piece, and this is our first time actually meeting.
Amazing. Okay, well, Charlie, the show is up on the site, so I don't want to make you all repeat what you've already seen. But since you've had some time with the work as a whole, I guess either of you, what did anything surprise you about the final outcome? That's the first time that even with your reaction videos and your videos, you still didn't know the person, you didn't know titles, you didn't know so many things. So did anything pop out as whoa, that's wild? And, even in the interviews, anything like that?
I mean, I said this from the beginning, but I think it remains true that I'm really struck by how personal and vulnerable the writing was. And I think that remains something that that really strikes me. And I'm just curious, Sav, about what your writing is typically like. I kind of didn't want to dig into anything before our conversation because I wanted to hear from you. But I'm curious. And I think I realized too that I don't know how fictionalized this account is, or if it is or if it is something like memoir. But I would love to hear about that, how you were able to talk about this stuff, how it came up for you, where it comes from.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate that. That's a big compliment to me as kind of in my artistic process in general. I've been aiming to become a lot more transparent about my work and just saying the thing as it is. It helps to have really great work like yours to start as a jumping off point and an inspiration. I was just struck by the feeling that I got from the work without having any other identifying information, no title, and even the supplementary the supplementary audio part of it just added so much depth to it that in the process I felt like I had to sit with the visual art first and then put the two together, and it was just such a generative experience for me. I could really picture myself actually being in a gallery space and hearing the audio over a speaker and just having the piece in front of me, and that was just wonderful for me. And yeah, I think a lot of my work is inspired by queerness, it's inspired by trauma, and kind of writing through those things. But I think your work, I constantly kind of, and especially in my revision process, tried to push myself to be more transparent about things. So not much of it is really fictionalized, other than just kind of the I don't want to say dramatization, but just kind of the amping up of some of the visuals and things like that.
Yeah, I don't really know how to talk about this, so I don't know how like productive this question will be. But I think I'm also actually curious about the idea of transparency. Like I think one of the a big part of my process is I am a part of the like critiques groups, one of which is the Field Chicago, which is really wonderful. But I think I'll often make things, get people's reactions, and then kind of iterate, and make things, get people's reactions, and iterate. And that's kind of how I wind up making objects, and how I stumbled on these objects, which I called mood organs, if you're looking for a title, which is like it's a reference to Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, like a machine that makes people feel certain emotions in that short story. But anyway, the thing that struck me was that people seemed more interested in the tape players when they were like farther away or something. And there was this, when I had music playing from inside the objects, when the glass was obscuring the music rather than like amplifying it, people seemed to like drawn closer to it. So I was really curious about this idea of transparent barriers, and this kind of like this sense of how it almost generates intimacy, or like it creates a vacuum which we like fill with intimacy or something. And I'm curious if that resonates with you, because I felt that in your writing, kind of, that you were sort of erecting these barriers that also like allowed us to get closer, kind of.
Yeah, yeah, totally. And I remember reading that like kind of in your response to the interview questions as well. Just kind of that process of creating intimacy through barriers. And I thought that was so interesting and really resonated with me when I read it then too. Just the work itself, how it's both, the tape is both like enclosed but also amplifying, I think really like lent itself to that. And also just like the kind of like the absence of color. Like there's not much color, but rather it seems more transparency with like the glass object itself. Um, so I don't know. Yeah, I think that really just kind of lent itself to me feeling inspired by imagining a conversation that I'd love to have with someone in the only way that I could have it with them, or the only way I imagined we could. And so it really kind of lent itself to that like imagining aspect, and what that would kind of look like. I don't know if that really answers your question, but
No, it does for sure. I mean, I was just curious. Yeah, I was curious. I think that struck me, just this idea of yeah, there's something about the situation that is like kind of impossible, which is like part of what's like lovely about it, is that it's made possible by the act of writing it, kind of.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, I was so like blown away by your piece in general, and just wanted to know more about your artistic process. If this piece is like a part of a series that you've done over a course of time, where you kind of draw your inspiration from, and like to make things like this, and also like what your, if you have like a revision process, like what kind of that looks like, and what the things you consider, like what things you consider in that revision process to get to like your desired product.
Yeah, I mean, I could talk about this forever, so I don't want to like ramble too much, but I used to work as a scientific glassblower. That was like a job that I had for a few years. So I was making like scientific apparatus. And it was like a really horrible job because it was extremely demanding in terms of like, it just demanded a lot of my like capacity to pay attention and my capacity to make things like with precision, but it was really boring. And I had like a difficult quota to meet. So I was working like 10-hour days. I had to be there at like 6 in the morning, and I was like struggling to keep up. So I found myself starting to listen to the same songs on repeat, like for hours, because it helped me focus. And it was like I wasn't carried away by what I was listening to. I kind of like knew the rhythms of what was like cycling in my head. And so after I mean, I spent a couple of years doing this, and I like became really interested in like looping music and this idea of the way that pop music is structured to create these little like cycles, and how like, I don't know, like some songs like I really found and like trashy pop songs too, I found like really gratifying to listen to over and over and over and over again. So I've kind of become interested in like providing an opportunity for people to like have that same experience, where like I think music can be this kind of like an emotional cycle or something. Like you drop into like an emotional moment and it ends like when you choose to walk away from it. It doesn't really itself have an end. So anyway, I don't know. I think I was just looking for a way to do that and a way to share that in space with people. And those objects, I just made lots of stuff. Like some of the first things I made is I was interested in, well, okay, how do I make physical loops? Cassettes probably. So I was recording loops onto physical cassettes, and you know, I wrote about this because I feel like it's a little complicated for Locus, but I care a lot about the way that technology disappears. I think it can be really manipulative, and I think it so I wanted people to have this immersive aesthetic and emotional experience in our engaging with the music, but while simultaneously like being aware of the material world in like a really concrete way. Like you kind of can't get away from what you're looking at and like where the music is coming from, if that makes sense. And what's weird about Locus is that, you know, all of that is now like experienced through like a screen or through your headphones, you know. So I didn't really know how it was gonna work out. But that loop that I sent you, I've been holding on to for like a special moment, because I think that's I don't know, I think it's like particularly evocative or something. So I don't know if that answers your question, but
Yeah, I love just like hearing about your process, because it was so like, especially like the audio itself, it again just added like such a layer to it, and a layer of nostalgia, I think, especially for me.
Totally.
I'm definitely a person where I get caught in a cycle of listening to like the same 3 songs for like 6-month periods at a time, and I think it's like that. It's just like a comfort. It's a way to like both detach and feel stimulated in some way, like, and just to like accomplish that rhythm. And I really appreciate you like sharing your process in that way. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, the good news is y'all are both in Chicago, so clearly, you know, cross those paths and, you know, maybe do it at the Martin. I don't know, just a thought. Come on through. Let's do it. Let's hang out. Well, everyone, let's give some snaps to Sav and Charlie. What an incredible pairing. Thank you all so much for your work. Thank you for this beautiful discussion. And yeah, I hope this connection continues for y'all. So. I would love to invite another pairing up who is here tonight. Julius and Khloe, would y'all like to join me here? Let me take myself away here.
Oh, hi.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Doing good. Hey,
My
Khloe.
Wi-Fi might be a little crappy, so I'm sorry if it delays or anything.
It's okay, we'll roll with it. Have you all had a chance to connect since the show opened?
Not to my knowledge. I
Not
believe we follow each other
really.
on Instagram, but yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, other than that, no.
Well, happy to have you here now. I'll kick y'all off with the same question. Is there anything that surprised you about the work together when it all came together onto one page? Or are there any questions that have been burning ever since reading that and seeing all the info both about each other and about each other's work that you kind of want to start things off with?
Yeah, I guess I'd start off. There was just like a lot of like I had a lot of anticipation just to see like the piece that Khloe is gonna put together as like something that like I am a huge fan of like employing into like the work that I create is like a sense of ambiguity, where when I learned that like the writer who gets like assigned to like the piece that I submit only just gets like the image itself and not really much other context, like I was excited to see like how they would like drive the mystery that the piece could be like conveying to them, which I was like very happy to see what they brought as well. Like it was pretty much everything I was kind of looking for in the piece, where I was wondering like if that ambiguity was something that like you were looking for to work from as well, or like or something like this. Do you generally like try to search for like the context, or like I'm kind of curious about like your process usually with this type of thing, I guess.
Well, to be honest, this is the first time I've done like an anonymous type of like collaboration. And so I didn't really have that many expectations. I'm a pretty like go with the flow type of person. So I was like, whatever is on my computer, so like I really appreciated the ambiguity of your piece, because it definitely like gave me a lot of room to just kind of like dig deeper than maybe say if there was more like this is what this picture is. So it definitely like gave me the opportunity to kind of like dig deeper and be like, okay, so what is this really saying to me? So yeah, and I'm normally one that kind of like one type of like thing can inspire me to create an entire piece. And so like when I saw the mirror in your piece, I was like, okay, reflection, shadow, the self, how can I go with this? And so yeah, I just kind of expanded upon that. I really appreciated the like the ambiguity of it. I really appreciated it.
Right on, glad to hear that.
Yeah. Do you feel like what you were trying to convey in your work was kind of, do you think that our pieces together kind of said that together, or do you think it was kind of like maybe a different like way of inspiration? I don't know if I'm saying this right, but did you feel like my piece and your piece connected in a way?
Oh yeah,
There it
definitely.
is.
Definitely. Like I feel like it's a further expression of what I was kind of putting together, where something that like was really fun with like what I brought in was kind of just like definitely trying to employ like someone like having an image of themselves to like look at rather than like anything else. Cause something that I definitely like think about a lot about with creating, especially like media, is like how people choose to observe it and like how people will observe it if it's like a literal reflection of themselves, of course, where I kind of trod off there. But yeah, where like I feel like there's a lot of like enough parallels between like the stuff that we created where like I fully think that it connected and was able to like bring in its own narrative to like help drive where the visual piece is going as well, but also like leaving enough like mystery and intrigue so people can still like bring in their own message as well, which like I appreciate because I feel like the important thing of like creating art and like how to make art's life more everlasting is like giving it the room to still maintain an open discussion, because like most works of art that like not like saying works of art specifically get forgotten for this reason, but like when it's like more of a close discussion and people aren't really allowed to like bring in their own like thoughts or feedback, it's just this one thing. Like you can't like try to apply anything to it. You can't like try to like bring yourself into it, because like I feel like art works so well when it's like literally a conversation, which was also just great about this process, that like it was very much kind of like a dialogue between the two of us. Despite we didn't even know each other existed until like the reveal and everything. Yeah,
Right.
I definitely feel like there's like a lot of great parallels between the two that was able to get employed for this process. Like it's kind of like a miracle just in general, like how everybody's work was able to like do that in a way, which is like is exciting about Locus in general.
Yeah, exactly.
Julius, I'm curious. I was expecting a video work from you. So your portfolio is so like video focused, and not that I was at all disappointed with your image, because I thought it was striking and everything y'all are breaking down. It was multi-layered. There was so many directions that anyone could have taken it. But I'm just curious, how you landed on what you wanted to submit.
Yeah, I was definitely thinking of like something video wise at first, but like something that I've been like getting into more than anything. Cause like my main thing, of course, is like video editing, just filmmaking in general. I've been getting more and more into like just doing photography, where like I wanted to take up the challenge of like trying to like take all the thoughts that I usually have that usually are helped out by like, using how much like, multiple frames in series can like help going about expressing it. And not saying that like there's a such a difficulty between the two art forms. Like it's just more like for me, there's definitely like a different like route I usually have to go like mentally and creatively, depending on which art form I choose. Where studio audience is like an idea I've been like kind of like messing with and working on for like maybe about the past 4 or 5 years. Like just the idea of like a person dealing with their reflection as their only sense of like media, their only sense of like what's the word? I guess entertainment, where I already like wrote like a script of it. I made like a couple video versions of it, but I really wanted to see about adapting but take the opportunity to like create something for this show and see about applying it to like the form of photography, I suppose. Where it's never just like me being like, yeah, I kind of really like I've been wanting to like do something with this idea again for like a while, because the last time I worked on it was like back in I think 2016, 2015, where like I felt like it was like time to like try to like adapt it to another form, I guess. Cause something I think is like just great with like ideas. It's like seeing like how they could transform based on like which form you choose to express them in, of course. Where that's definitely kind of like what drove me to like go more the photography route rather than like making another video out of it. And like also just like looking for like the previous locus galleries, like and seeing like some of the work of photography that was like featured in those really inspired me to like try to like see how I can go about expressing in that route, of course. But yeah.
Oh, that's nice. That brings me joy. And now all y'all can know that you're going to inspire future locus artists as well.
Yeah, I hope so.
I love that. Khloe, what about you? I mean, I know obviously you created this work inspired by Julius's work, but have you been in creative mode, or like Sav, have you been kind of sitting back and kind of waiting for an opportunity? And what's been your vibe lately?
My vibe's been a little bit of both. I've kind of been laying low and kind of just let the creativity or like letting inspiration to me. So I have been as like, I'm gonna write, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. I've been more kind of like, when the inspiration comes, then we'll write or we'll create wherever I feel like creating. I have been kind of wanting to get more into writing more frequently, just so I can, keep getting my feelings and whatever the heck is inside of me out. But for the most part, I've kind of just been like chilling and coasting and just kind of going with whatever artistic flow I feel like going on each day. So yeah.
Nice. Well, we're so thrilled to have both of you with us. Thank you so much for participating. Both of you are also in Chicago. So once, you feel comfortable, hopefully all of our paths will cross. Yeah, everybody give it up for Julius and Khloe, the work that they did for the show. Y'all were great. I loved your pairing. I'm gonna throw myself in here and let y'all rest. We have one more pairing for this evening that I will invite up before we open up the floor to anyone else who has any questions for the group, or we can just say bye-bye and move on with our evening. I would love to invite Lauren and Elon. Hi, Lauren. Do, 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 do. Hi, Elon. All right, perfect. Get me out of here. Hi, y'all. Lauren, Elon. Say hello to each other. You're each other's pairings.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you
That's
for
so
giving me something to jump off of. So
Yeah, well, this is a third Chicago pairing. So, keeping it in the city. So I love this. I will also kick you all off since seeing the show in its completion, getting to have the reveal of not only each other, but the titles of your work, your interviews, all of that. Anything stand out as a surprise? Any questions y'all have? What's kind of top of mind right now?
Do you have a question for me? I think I would love to ask you where you started from. I saw in your interview, we haven't talked since we got each other's information. I saw in your interview that you talked a little bit about portraiture, I think, if I'm remembering correctly, and how it was part of a larger series. So I guess I would love to hear more about that.
So this is a series kind of about the celebration of fatness and going back into childhood and femininity and acceptance. And so this is a larger series of each room is the going back into childhood femininity and like what that looks like. So this room, I chose the hearts that are kind of like the outdated cliche, what we think of, what I thought of as a child, what femininity, what I thought it was going to be as an adult, which I was greatly not the case. It's not all butterflies and sunshines, you know, as an adult.
I love that. I think when I saw it, I was really struck by first I noticed like the color and then the texture of it. And then I noticed that those shapes were actually hearts, and the way that they looked kind of almost as if they were like, I couldn't like, but they looked sort of like not real. Like I was like, I feel like they're not there. And I think there's something about that that's really cool. I said this in my intro, but I think that the first thing that struck me was the texture, and then my mind went to this place of like, I feel like I'm observing the environment just as much as I'm like observing the person, and that went to this place of like, you know, art history classes in high school, and like, what does it mean to see a reclining figure, and like, what are you supposed to read onto that body? And I think that it was an interesting jumping off place, both of like thinking about texture and like a reclining figure and like observation, and that was where I sort of jumped off from.
I love how connected to the body it was and how meditative. I just am so curious, like the connection between like art making and your body.
Mm-hmm.
Like what does that mean for you?
That's so interesting, because I think that one thing that I think about almost all the time in all of the art that I make, whether it's like literary or otherwise, is the idea of creating a record of something that is valuable through like its subjectivity. So I think a lot about the value of just like some things that I've done in the past that are audio based have just been based on like audio diaries, like recordings that I'm making talking about my life or just talking about my thoughts or ideas. And so I really I think that one of the most fun things to do with writing is like to really like spend time thinking about how to record a sensation. And it's something that I've done a lot of. So I think the piece very literally relates to my body in terms of like, I spent a lot of time on my couch being like, like, what is that? Or just thinking about remembering, like, what does it feel like? I was thinking a lot about like when you're laying on your bed and you somehow just kind of end up like laying with your head halfway off the bed and you're like feeling the way that your body changes, or when you're doing yoga, just the way that little changes can feel so like freeing or emotional in some intangible or like hard to pin down way. And so a lot of it, it started with like the nail scratching, and then a lot of it was thinking about like, what are sort of like the sensations that I think go with like that idea of somebody who is sort of like reclining, and there's this question of like the environment is so engrossing, it takes you into like a sensorial place, but it also the I guess like a connection to art history takes you to this place that's kind of about sexuality. And then I love that connection to like your childhood idea of thinking about what will it be like to be an adult. I think there's something there too that relates back to like our bodies and the way that they interact with like, you know, our identities and other things. But I think I've fully wandered away from the question, but yeah.
It's so interesting. A lot of my work is about proof of existence, and I hear that also the same in your work as well.
Yeah. I think that it's so interesting that we live like in a time where everybody is kind of aware of the like potential historicity or like I don't know if that's a word, historicness of the things that we do, and we kind of have this like there are so many things that we can like think about, like we have this one piece of trash from like thousands of years ago, and now we know what like ancient, you know, Romans did every day. And I think that like that plus like being a person with a marginalized identity and being aware of like how history has been intentionally erased by colonialism or other things has been very formative to just me as a person. And so I think that like, but I also think that's true of a lot of people, is that we kind of have this sense of like, I exist and I'm having this experience, and maybe that has some inherent value just because it's happening, but also like, what is the chance of my experience actually getting remembered and being valued by somebody else? I think about that a lot.
Me too. Yeah. And just trying to like rewrite, and just the visibility I think is really important to show people I exist, you exist, we all exist, and like each of us in our stories are very important.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just wanted, and I wanted to like write my own narrative
Mm-hmm.
of like my own experience, and I think each person should be able to have that opportunity.
Yeah, I agree. I do agree.
Well, it's lovely. Y'all were just such a beautiful partnership. The board was pretty much just unanimous in how they appreciated that both of you approached a topic in just a non-stereotypical way. So it was stories about the body that, you know, are not just the easy surface kind of sort of narrative. So thank you all for digging deep and making the good stuff. We really, really appreciate it.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, thank you.
Y'all are great. Awesome. Well, I am going to, that is all I quote unquote had for y'all tonight. I would love to open it up to anyone if they have any questions for any artists who are here, or any questions about anything. I don't know, comments, concerns, 5-star reviews, etc. Feel free to chime in, and if nobody has anything, that's okay too. I think that's it. Okay, cool. Awesome. Well, y'all, this was Locus 7. Congratulations to our recipients of our microgrant offerings for this quarter. Thank you again to the community who made it possible. Thank you to our bridge partners. Thank you to our board member team. Thank you to everyone. We have teased about it. We have decided that Locus 8 will be in person in Chicago at the Martin, opening in September. Our call will go live in July, in like 2 weeks, and it's going to be really, really dope. We've got some incredible microgrant situations coming up, so keep an eye out. Visual Friends will be up next quarter, and then we will close the year with Locus 9. Wow. And that will be, we get to add an X to the number, which I love. And we will end the year again with this format with our literary friends making the new work. So thank you all for the time tonight. Thank you for the incredible discussions. Thank you for being so thoughtful, and yeah, for just sharing your beautiful brains with us. So have a great rest of your Saturday, everyone. If you're in Chicago, stay dry. If you're somewhere else that's totally being thunderstormed on, stay dry as well. And hope to see you all again soon.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Whitney.
Yeah. Bye, everyone. Mwah.